again, when you have try to get game cams out and the game cams malfunction only when Bigfoot's around, that would be an interdimensional sign.
Right. Matter of fact, I've got a great game cam story from Kakalak Lake with the UFO I team. While we were up there doing all those other experiences that we had, one of our team members, Kevin Beagle, brings his game cam and straps it to a tree right next to our camp site and leaves it running all night long, hoping to catch something because we had some wood knocks and stick breaks and basically a sighting of shadows in the full moonlight in the forest, thinking that it could have been a Bigfoot activity. So what he did is in the morning he goes to check his game cam on the tree, and believe it or not, the game cam had been opened in the middle of the night and literally turned off. There's a switch you have to hit it to turn it off, and it was just sitting there open, having been turned off. So you never know how stealthy or that the Bigfoot can actually get around and not. They basically know when there is some kind of a camera in the area, from what I gather.
Now, Tristan is in the chat room asking, has anyone watched that Hellier yet? And I'm really not sure what he's talking about.
No.
Has anyone heard of Hellier?
No.
We watched First Man last night.
Which one?
Oh, yeah. How was that? Was it good?
It was very good.
Well,
very
tell us the
technical.
Tell us the basically story about this film and tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, so it starts out as it is the story of Neil Armstrong.
Ah, okay.
Not only for the moon landing, but the years leading up to it, starting from the death of his daughter. So as most people know, his daughter died of cancer in 1961. And from that year to the actual moon landing is the story you follow. And it is just an amazing story filled with everything from the Gemini missions to the Apollo missions and everything that they had to do to actually make that happen. And it's actually weird because knowing the conspiracy theory that the moon landing actually didn't happen, the way they show the landing, both of the ideas fit.
What do you mean both?
So, watching the movie, you can actually see the fact that it might be fake and it might be real. The way they filmed it, it was perfect. Well, to me, they lost so many lives trying to get to the moon. There are so many people that saw the ships or the rockets leave the Earth. I honestly cannot take that away from those three men and all the men and women that helped get them there, that it didn't happen. I can't take that away from them. So I have to believe it happened.
Yeah, I can lean that way.
I think the anomaly that comes into play with all that, though, too, is when you hear, and they cut off the transmission, but when you actually hear Neil Armstrong talking to NASA, that they're not alone. They see something on the backside of the moon, and then they cut the transmission.
Well,
say again?
Well, Jamie, what were you saying?
Oh, Yeah, I was just the part about seeing something there. That part right there seems so real. You know what I mean? If they're up there on the moon like that, and everybody's expecting to be there alone, and they see something that shouldn't be there, that's really unsettling there.
My issue with that is everything can be faked. As they said, the whole moon landing itself could be faked.
Mm-hmm.
What if it's an ex-NASA employee that didn't make it onto that mission that decided to mess with the recordings?
Yeah, that's it.
You know, like, that's the thing. It could be faked either way.
Now, recently, Izzy was bringing up that they're talking about the Mars Pathfinder. And I'm not sure if it was the actual Mars Pathfinder, or if there's something else that they put on Mars that wasn't expected to make it very long because of technology. And a dust storm came in, and they thought they lost it because it was all solar powered. And they mourned. And they thought it was gone. And all of a sudden it pops back up, and it's spotless. Have you guys heard that story?
No.
Oh, that's really nice. The Martians to clean it up for them.
It was.
Yeah. Good old spit polish.
Could you imagine being up there, though? That's crazy. I mean, up on the moon, alone up there, there's so many things that could have been there, you know?
I had problems in concrete alone for 3 days. I don't think I could do the moon. Okay.
I mean, seriously, everybody just assumes that they're up there by themselves. But, I mean, come on. I mean, they're up on the moon.
And that's the thing. When the way they filmed this movie and the way he looks out into the vastness of space from the surface of the moon, it actually is kind of unsettling when you think about it. And I couldn't imagine being one of those men.
No.
The worst one for me would be the guy who was left on the return ship.
Oh,
that
no
never got
kidding.
to go down. Like, your two friends are leaving you in the middle of space. And you don't know if they're coming back. Like, it just doesn't seem fair to me that they couldn't put 3 seats in the lander.
Exactly.
Right.
You know, there's a very famous episode of the Frasier television show with Neil Armstrong. Did anyone see that?
No.
Well, Neil Armstrong actually did a guest appearance on that very popular television series called Frasier. And the scenario was this, that Frasier was in a radio station, either bringing Neil Armstrong to an interview, or for some reason they were both in the same radio station at the same time. And Frasier gets into an argument with the woman at the receptionist at the front desk, while Neil Armstrong is walking into the studio, and behind the glass is actually talking with the host of the show who is going to interview them, and they were off mic. But in the episode, you could hear what they were talking about inside the booth, while it was just Neil Armstrong and the interviewer, talking about the good old days, at NASA and stuff. And Neil Armstrong starts spilling his guts in the episode. Someone wrote this script, by the way, about that when they landed on the moon, there were aliens and spaceships, and they were being monitored the whole time they were there on the moon. And, of course, Frasier who was interested in this whole story, didn't hear any of it because he's out in front arguing with the receptionist lady. It was supposed to be a comedy, kind of thing. But can you imagine Neil Armstrong agreeing to be part of a script that says that? That was the fascinating part.
Yeah, honestly, that's hard to imagine. The way
that's
he's
exactly what I was saying. Go ahead.
He's not an easy man to get along with, it seems, in this movie. But he wasn't.
Now, getting back to Hellier real quick, Tripp is in the chat room. He said, "Would love to watch it and nitpick this one." Dave had the two traveling paranormal museum people on, and they're doing it. Not sure if it's supposed to be suspense, movie, documentary, because it sure as heck ain't investigative. But it's a good show. Look it up. It's Hellier.tv. Go on YouTube and just look up Hellier.tv on YouTube. I'll probably do that tomorrow.
For everyone asking, that's Hellier.
There you go.
Is that having anything to do with the Canadian official Paul Hellier, who has retired?
No, because this is about hauntings. And I believe Hellier is, wasn't he the Minister of Defense or something in Canada?
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that would be, he'd be UFO. This has to do with the Paranormal Museum.
Interesting.
So.
Hey, I got a question. Area 51. I'm sure it exists, and it's everything that they say it is. But my question is, why is it the government doesn't want us to know about it? They're afraid of panic, or what is the purpose of keeping that from us?
Of non-disclosure. Good question. And we talk about it all the time. So there's many theories as to there's many theories as to why the government wouldn't want UFOs and aliens exposed. One would be national defense. Not national defense in that, can you imagine if they told you, or told the American people, that there are aliens and they can't stop them, they can't control them? Can you imagine the panic?
Well, it's kind of like we panic right now. We don't trust them that they're going to protect us and do anything for us anyway. I mean, what would we do if we panicked? It would just be like pandemonium, chaos or something, and that's what they're afraid of, or they're afraid of us overthrowing them?
Well,
no, you got to think money. You got to think money.
Money.
Okay? The entire stock market would crash, honestly.
Yep.
Ah, okay, there you go.
The stock market would crash. With some, it would destroy religion. Not all of them. Because one-sided religion would say it was demons and God's coming back. The other ones would say, oh my God, there is no God. And it would divide religion. But the ironic part with that is you have the Pope, who's got his own telescope and has been watching this, and has actually come out and talked about aliens and said, we'd like to convert aliens to God, to Christianity. Yeah, I mean, and then you go back historically, and what's the name of that treaty that, wasn't it Eisenhower that signed the treaty with the aliens, Michael?
Yeah, that's the rumor, 1947 or so.
Well, I'm trying to remember the name of the treaty.
Yeah, I forget the name of it as well.
We just talked about this, I think, last week.
The idea being that they were going to come up with an agreement that the aliens could continue to abduct people on the planet for their purposes of experimentation as long as the U.S. government got technology in return. So that's one of the theories that this treaty was involved in.
That's kind of cool how they fit that into the Transformers movies.
They did. Indeed.
I don't know,
And-
but what would it do? What would it do to religion if they found out that God was actually an alien then, and like Earth was the experiment?